Alright, welcome everybody. My name is Turbodog702 and this is Guacamelee Gold Edition. I'm going to cover a couple things real quick right off the bat just to get them out of the way. Currently we are playing in the French language. The French language saves about 10 seconds in time due to less text boxes. We're also going to be playing with VSync off, so I do apologize for any screen tearing, but it's just the best way to play this game without the game dropping any inputs, getting a stable frame rate, all that good stuff. But I digress, we're going to go ahead and get going here. Time will start once I hit OWE here. And it is going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. This is Guacamelee, a game that's made by Drinkbox Studio. It is a beat-em-up Metroidvania platformer thing. It's pretty awesome. I have successfully not messed up in the Tequila Tower, which is nice. We start off the game as Juan, who's a agave farmer who has a bootleg still of tequila in the bottom of his house. He also names his house Casa de Juan, with a nice huge sign outside of it, don't ask why. So something very basic inside of most platforming games. Slopes will slow you down a little bit, so I try to avoid them here and there. The first thing we're going to do is called the select door glitch, which is basically a form of a wrong warp. And we're going to just start the game over, obviously, because this is a terrible run. But that's actually a lie. I tricked you. That's to skip over a tutorial inside of the game. That allows us to bypass that guy at the edge of town and make our way further into the game. So I've set up a skip a little bit beforehand. It's called Lupita Skip. It allows you to save about like 3 to 5 seconds by not waiting for this cutscene to fully play out. Say hi to Mexican Skeletor, by the way, which is pretty sweet. For the purpose of this playthrough, it's imperative that everybody in the chat just throws up ridiculous memes related to wrestling or mentions their favorite terrible wrestling storylines, a la Botchamania. We're dead now, so I mean, I guess that's kind of the end of the game, but luckily we can keep going. So a little bit about the select door glitch. Select door glitch allows us to basically set warp points at various points inside of the game, at different regions. And this allows us to kind of teleport all over the map. It's extremely useful and cut this game down like crazy amounts of time. So now we have the mask and we become the luchador. Okay, maybe we don't become the luchador yet. Maybe we're still kind of Juan. Right now we are experiencing what's known as the weird Juan. Basically, the game still doesn't realize that we're supposed to be a luchador. And so whenever it can, it's actually playing animations related to the farmer Juan, rather than keeping us as a luchador the entire time. However, there's certain things that regular farmer Juan can't do, so it then changes to the luchador when we need to do those things. This is a basic combat tutorial. Let's see if I get the infinite. Ah, I did not. It's okay. So there is an infinite that you can do on the yellow skeletons. Yellow skeletons are kind of a problem because they have a habit of dodging out of your combos. So because of that, you kind of have to adjust appropriately. You'll notice that I'm rolling kind of everywhere now. Rolling is slightly faster than walking. What's nice about rolling is that your roll actually carries over all of its momentum during a jump. And you can roll in a jump, and if you land while you're rolling in a jump, then it rolls on the ground. So it's a nice way to be able to constantly roll without getting frame-perfect roll button presses on the ground. You'll notice that we are now a different character. We are Tostada, the Guardian of the Mask. And we're in a different costume for Tostada if you've ever played this game before. This is Puma Man. Everybody say hi to Puma Man. Ven. Right? Kaboom! And he's going to break that bridge, and we're going to kind of have to move our way through everything here. So Tostada is basically the exact same character as Juan. There's no changes. We have changed the Alebrije costume. This costume allows you to deal double damage, but also take double damage in response. The only reason we picked Tostada over Juan is because it's a faster menu to get to her Alebrije costume. This is our first arena of the game. And We're hoping for a little luck here. Nice, we got it. So, there is some luck inside of this game. I am going to be going for a skip that's extremely luck-based. But for the most part, the luck in this game, it'll cost you a few seconds here or there, but, you know, we're beyond that. The speed run itself is what's important. It's important to me and to you. I know you. I know you much better than I think I do. I hope we get to meet sometime, maybe shake hands. Yeah, get a kiss on the cheek. I don't know, maybe we'll go out drinking or something. Anyway, we initiated the SDG again, select door glitch, in order to set our warp location to the Forest El Chiva. We then broke a Chuzo statue. It's not a Chozo statue. It's a Chuzo statue. These things hold your power-ups. This first thing that we're going to get is going to be called the Rooster Uppercut. The Rooster Uppercut allows you to gain large quantities of height at the cost of stamina. So what is stamina? Well, if you were to look at the upper left of the screen underneath the red health bar, you would see some yellow squares. Those yellow squares are your stamina bars. It requires at least a fraction of a stamina bar in order to use a special move, like the Rooster Uppercut. So you need to manage stamina appropriately. Stamina regens on its own as you play as well. So using an SDG warp trick, we trick the game into allowing us to warp to the end of the Forest El Chivo and end up at Santa Lucida. We're going to go in here because we love Viva Pinata and pick up a little money. And we're going to pick up this. Okay, good. We got that jump. That jump's actually a little bit precise. We picked up a stamina chunk there. Do a little platforming using the Rooster Uppercut here for extra health. This is the combat tutorial. Not much happening here, but we're going to go ahead and beat up this jobber, Poncho. But, so I got stamina chunks. In order to get a full chunk of stamina, you need to have 3 stamina chunks before it'll give you an actual bar. So that's the first one we're going to get. Also in the upper left, you'll see the best character in the game. That's Combo Chicken. He teaches all of the luchadors how to fight. He's a very mysterious character. We can only hope that when Guacamelee 2 comes out, that there's a Combo Chicken guidon in it. 2, 3, and 4 text boxes. Get out of there. So now that we've gotten our combat tutorial and we have our Rooster Uppercut, we're going to make our way over to the Temple of Rain, but not before meeting Anakin the Chicken, which is right here. So Anakin giving us the Zero-Peck Anakin. We're blessed. Oh yeah, and there's a huge floating magic head. These are the Olmec heads. They act as teleporters to you inside of the game. We call Anakin Anakin because sometimes he brings balance to the guac, and other times he completely corrupts it. He has a chance to peck on the ground once or twice, and every time he pecks on the ground during that cutscene, he costs you 1 second. So he's the origin of the sweet Guacamelee meme known as 1 peck, 2 peck, red split, gray face. It's a pretty good unknown Dr. Seuss book. Alright. This is good old Shtatabe, or X-Baby, or X-Tabe. Any other number of ways you choose to pronounce her name. I mean, it's like X''Tabai. So, do with that what you will. But she's seriously down for some Wolmgrosis Garesis. Alright, so now we get to meet the worst enemies in the game, probably Luxes. Luxes are very random in their jumping patterns. However, in this game, all of the arenas are preset as to when enemies are going to spawn. So even if the patterns are kind of random that enemies may take, you can still take an educated guess on how they are going to move and how you need to move in order to account for that. So some nice puzzle platforming here to get our next stamina jump. So these portals are introducing to us the land of the dead and the land of the living. Right now, these portals are the only way that we can go between dimensions. And in one dimension or another, there are certain platforms or certain doors. There's also me getting completely swatted down by a yellow skeleton because he had a really bad attack cycle there. But as you can see in this room, there are platforms that are sparkling, and if they're sparkling, then they only appear in one realm or the other. So it's up to you to kind of discover which realm you need to be in order to deal with certain platforming segments. We're going to catch this huge El Gigante skeleton there before he hits the ground. If you can catch enemies before they hit the ground, it's really good because it allows you to basically control them so they never get an opportunity to get started and move. Nice. Ah, dang. It's nice to be able to wrangle those skeletons into a single combo. But unfortunately, we didn't quite get that. We didn't quite get that. So now we're going to go ahead and get the Olmec Headbutt. Olmec Headbutt is relevant because it does the most damage in a single attack outside of comboing. So it's very, very strong in that aspect. It also allows us to break yellow blocks. So if I find red blocks, I need to break those with Rooster Uppercuts. Yellow blocks I need to break with Olmec Headbutt. And so on and so forth. We're going to be picking up other colored special moves as well over the course of the game. One of the things that's really awesome about these special moves is they're not just used for combat, they're also used for platforming, and each one of them actually has uses for platforming if you're playing the game normally. The Rooster Uppercut's a very, very obvious one, but as we progress through the game, you'll see a couple of little key uses of other moves as well. Here's the game showing off that some enemies will also be relegated to certain dimensions, unless you need to fight them appropriately. We're going to try to lure this guy. Nice, got the lure. Saves a little bit of time. Like, this game is extremely well optimized, and I'd love to say that I'm a really good Guac player. I'd like to think I'm a good one, but there are guys that are way, way better than me at this game. So now, somebody spilled Ninja Gaiden in my Guacamelee, and we now have wall jump from that new Chuzo statue. Hopefully I'm under a sub 12 right now, because sub 12 is a pretty good pace to be at this point in the game. But I don't know, maybe I'm terrible. The huge Ali Hibre that we just went by, Ali Jabbers, he is now gone. Don't worry about him, we'll see him later. Just watch the chicken for now. Alright, I wasn't quite sure I was going to make that jump. That's actually an optimized puzzle platforming room. I'm going to be running into another one of those soon enough, where I'm going to be trying another advanced strat in it. I'll give it a couple attempts before cutting my losses and moving on. Sorry, I gotta keep my focus for the next couple of rooms, so feel free to keep the jokes and wrestling memes coming, hopefully. Yeah, that was a little high. Okay. Alright, good. Second try's okay. It's unfortunate because that skip doesn't save too much time, but it looks cool, so I'll take it. Sometimes you just gotta look cool, because sometimes girls are watching. That's the most important thing. I mean, who cares if you have world records in games if you don't look cool when girls are watching? Alright, so we're going to have a yellow skeleton come up on the left here that we need to deal with. Very important that we deal with him first, because if we don't catch him before he hits the ground, it is terrifying to have to deal with him. So very important to deal with that. Also pretty important to catch that guy as he comes down as well. Alright. So we continue on here. We're gonna fail that jump. That's okay though. Sometimes you're gonna fail jumps. You just gotta learn to deal with it. That's a slight exploit involving using a uppercut to slide against a wall rather than uppercut to the side of it. That's a very slight optimization at the end of that room so that you can jump keeping your momentum going left. And now we're going to come to the first boss, which isn't so much a boss, but I actually like it conceptually, even though it's basically an auto-scroller. This section basically is teaching you to put together everything you've learned up to this point and doing it quickly. So, like, it has everything. It has some combat. It has platforming. It has understanding how portals works. It has the ability to sit here and Wiggletron, you know? And, like, you get to do that all with a little bit of a timer on it. But it's not a very strict timer. So, have you ever just wanted to watch Mexican wrestling so much that you just twerked super hard and jumped off of the ground because of it? Because I just did there. So, very, very, very key reference here. There's a lot of references and homages in this game. I pick up this axe and it knocks off this bridge. So this is very clearly representing Terminator 2, because he goes into the lava. I mean, I don't know how you could view that as any other reference. It's clearly Terminator 2. So funny thing here, I'm actually not looking at the chat right now, and that's not because I want to see what people are saying or not saying, or possibly seeing bad things. But it's because I have never had what I consider to be an acceptable marathon run of this game. And that hurts. So I would like to think that hopefully this one, or the one that I'm going to be doing at Smash the Record later on this week, are going to turn out well. But we'll just have to see what happens. So you'll notice that we kind of went to Santa Lucida and then went back to the Temple of Rain. And the reason for that was we were trying to set up a select door glitch to the Olmec head in the Forest El Chivo, which we just hit right now. And we're also trying to be in the Land of the Dead. Because normally we wouldn't have control of our ability to be in the Land of the Living or the Land of the Dead. But we used the portal that was available. Hold on. We used the portal that was available inside of the Temple of Rain to make it so that we could be inside of Santa Lucida and Dead at the same time, which we shouldn't be able to do. This is Flameface. Everybody say hi to him, because this is going to be the last time you see him. He is actually skipped even in the 100% route of this game, which is hilarious. You'll notice that I'm running one player, one controller. It is actually possible to beat this game extremely fast using a two-controller strat. But the community has kind of decided that we'd rather represent this game using 1P1C or good ending or 100%. Because they're just more interesting visually and shows off a lot more of the game, a lot more of the mechanics. So we're going to pick up Frog Slam here. Frog Slam, a very interesting move. It's going to be our green stamina move, so we can break green blocks now. And that's going to allow us to return to Pueblucho in the Land of the Dead. Which normally we would have to go to the Desert de Cayente in order to get the ability to change into the Land of the Dead before we would head here. But because of Select Door Glitch, we can actually sequence break this area and get one ability before the other. So coming up here, we're going to be fighting another boss in the game. It's going to be X-Baby. We're going to hope for a good fight. Phase 1, there's a potential infinite that you can do, but it kind of relies on the boss cooperating and not teleporting away from you. So we'll hope that that works out just fine. The rest of them are just based on how she decides to move. So, as you can see, the Frog Slam is really good at downward movement, gaining you a lot of speed very quickly. But it also has another property that we'll see in just a little bit in the Desert Decay. Good old X-Baby, asking if we need some stimulation. We tell her, none! Alright, let's see if we get a good fight. Okay, good phase 1. We'll see how phase 2 goes. She tried. I was still pretty good. She gave me a bad attack, but I executed well. I didn't quite get the cancel there quick enough. Ooh. She is playing really well right now. And I'm playing not so freshly. Alright. Still a pretty good fight. Just unfortunate, the pattern that she gave me in phase 2. But I'll live with it. Can we get the roll away from Chitabe's heart? Nice, we got it. So normally, Chitabe's heart is supposed to impact you, and that's when you get the power. But you can actually buffer inputs during loading screens, which is going to become relevant later on. So here's the use of the Frog Slam. Normally, that is an impossible gap in order to get up using only the Rooster Uppercut. But what Frog Slam does it actually disjoints your collision box slightly upward. And that allows you to make a jump like that. We're breaking those 4 blocks so that we can change the game state. If we did not do that, then we would get in a soft lock situation. And then we reload the game in order to allow us to do this. So since we're now in the Land of the Dead, there's platforms that appear there that normally wouldn't be there. And we can progress along nice and easy. So you'll see that that armadillo did a red rolling attack. Red attack she cannot avoid. I suppose that's something that I should mention. So your roll, in addition to allowing you to move quicker, also does allow you to dodge enemy attacks and avoid certain obstacles, like red vines. However, it is not perfect. And as mentioned, certain attacks will completely ignore the fact that you're rolling. When you run into that type of attack, you have to physically avoid it, or you have to attack them in response. So you notice I've been picking up a lot of money, but the only thing that I've bought so far has been a stamina chunk in order to give myself 3 bars. That's on purpose. Coming up here, we are going to be buying something rather big. But first, here's our introduction to shields. We're supposed to have this before we fight Chitabe, but because we sequence broke the game, we did it before then. Very simple, though. Basically, you need to hit the enemy with the color of move that they have a shield of before you can start doing actually damage to them. Nice use of the Frog Slam here as well, gain a little height. If you ever see me glowing red, that's a result of the game telling me, hey, stupid, you don't have any stamina, so don't try to use any moves. Pretty technical arena coming up here. Hopefully the game cooperates. Okay, good. Kind of bad pattern with the green guys, but I'll take it. Nice. Very, very good arena there, I would say, other than that green guy pattern at the beginning. But I'll take it. So now we're coming up to a skip that I kind of discovered, but it wasn't until Protong and Abyssion looked into it that it got perfected. This is called Chad the Overly Friendly Cactus. We don't even add skip to the end of it. People just know what it is, or we call it the Chad skip. So I'm going to try to buffer a headbutt here, and I got it. So normally what the game does is it actually zips you across the screen into this location for you to turn into a chicken. But because I buffered an input during the loading screen, I'm actually near the beginning of this section. And at first, when this first encountered for me, I thought this was a soft lock, but after 2 or 3 times of seeing it, we actually discovered that you can get out of it, and it's beneficial. Because if we can trick this cactus into moving for us, then it allows us to complete this Poyo section much faster than originally intended. However, it can also be an enormous jerk and not happen, so this is where the luck comes in. Alright. So, tried to manipulate them out of the way so they wouldn't be a problem. And, I mean, all we're doing right now is we're trying to manipulate it so that the cactus throws, and during its throw animation, we move as it's throwing. So it tries to move to put us into range. And most of the time, this is faster than the normal strat. However, I have definitely sat here for 6 minutes and had it not work. So let's hope that that doesn't happen this time. So did you guys hear that in the pyramids in Egypt, they recently found hieroglyphs that clearly show Ric Flair chopping Osiris in the chest? Apparently he taught the ancient pharaohs how to fight. Wow, he doesn't want to move. It's happening! So much for having a good run, right? In a marathon. But we're doing this. This is happening. I suppose I should mention, the reason we're a little dragon instead of a little chicken is because of the Ella Brige costume. So normally when he doesn't throw for a long time like this, it means he's actually moved. So... Huh. He's not throwing anything. Did you move? No, you're not. You're still up there. Why are you still up there? Chad. Chad's not being overly friendly right now. I think that's pretty obvious. So because this has taken a disastrous turn of events, I can now officially no longer care about the rest of this run. Okay, there we go. So he's finally come down and we can jump over him. If he doesn't come down like that, it's impossible to get over him, even if you take a damage boost. Speaking of damage boosts, there's a sweet little damage boost to bypass that platforming section. And we're going to continue on here. So big things about the Poyo form. Poyo form is the fastest normal form of movement inside of the game. That's non-conditional. As you can see, it does garbage damage. You also don't get the ability to use any of your stamina moves inside of it or after using it. So, kind of only useful when all you're trying to do is move. This is a terrible pattern for this one. We can only take about one hit inside of here, and the fact that they have all desynced means that this is no good. It's not a good look. So we've saved up all of this money, and we're going to use it to buy Spectral Dynamite, which is going to blow up the entrance to El Infierno, which is a Gold Edition special. Normally El Infierno is a challenge dungeon, but it has an interesting property as well. This is a rooster. He's just a rooster, paying no attention to the rooster. Hey, stop paying attention to him. I can tell you're paying attention to him. So there is a skip that allows you to skip over this and immediately go to El Infierno. Fortunately, I didn't quite get it, but it's still pretty difficult to hit. But there's a way around it, luckily. If anything's killing this run, it's that pretty abysmal Chad luck. But we'll go ahead and see what we can do about execution on the rest of this run, right? They can't all be PBs. So El Infierno is normally supposed to be a challenge dungeon. But it was revealed, actually, by the devs themselves for Super Turbo Championship Edition. Somebody ran into a situation in that game where they were unable to progress because they missed a vital component, like a vital move. But funny enough, you can actually enter certain doors in El Infierno, and they will give you abilities that you're not supposed to have. Like right now, I've only obtained Rooster Uppercut, Frog Slam, the ability to change dimensions, Wall Jump, and Poyo Form. With this exploit I'm going to do, I'm going to gain vastly more abilities. Speaking of vastly more, I am going to be doing what's called swap hopping. So swap hopping is essentially a infinite jump. This was discovered by a drunk fried eel in Wesker. It allows you to gain infinite amounts of height once you get access to Poyo Form. The downside of it is that you can't do special moves out of it, and obviously you're still in Poyo Form, so there's not much combat application, but I mean, the ability to gain infinite height in any game that gates off huge portions of content due to height it's game-breaking. It's completely game-breaking. We're going to be switching costumes to the skeleton here. The reason for that is the skeleton costume is probably my favorite costume in the game visually and mechanically. It allows us to have infinite stamina, so we do need to worry about budgeting stamina out for platforming, which is nice in Sierra Morena, which is the next area, because there is a lot of platforming that can be made much, much easier and quicker by having more stamina. So we enter El Infierno door number 3, but then immediately leave it, and that gives us the ability to run up walls now, as you'll see here. So El Infierno door number 3 is one of those that allows you to get special abilities. Sierra Morena, easily the hardest part of this game. Ooh, almost rolled off the cliff there. That movement right there is a cutscene swip, so we don't need to hear the Puma Man. He can just stand there forever. Always watching, always waiting. This skip is called Over the Top. It skips over 2 arenas, and is very powerful because of that. It requires intense swap hopping. Sometimes you'll hear a huge clickety-clackety sound coming out of the microphone. That's me actually using my controller to swap hop. When I need to do extended swap hops, I hold my controller differently than when I just need to do 1 or 2. Ooh. Okay, I kind of need to serious time myself here for a moment. Ooh, okay. That was an interesting film throw pattern. Because this next section is pretty dire if you make a mistake. I made a slight mistake. I'll take that, though. Okay. So, I'm not going to try that again. Wow, okay. They are totally me right now. Sorry, I think that is my cell phone telling me that I am going to die. I would love to deal with that, but I'm too busy doing this platforming section where I'm going to die instantly if something goes wrong. Also, thank you for the follow, whoever followed me during this. I really should have turned that off, but I'm not going to. So now we're getting access to Goatfly. Goatfly is the normal fastest form of movement in the game, but it requires a wall to spring off of, which is why situationally it's strong, but not as strong as Poyo. We're going to try to do some sick stuff here with what's called the Super Fly. This movement is a double arena skip. That's swap hopping. Nice, we got it. That's the Super Fly. I'm actually really glad I got that, because that is a very, very difficult movement to do, and I think it looks awesome. Okay. So we're just making our way up Sierra Morena here, just using our basic platforming tech. What I'm doing here is actually a super jump off of that wall run. Just a little bit of timing here, so I count them off. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and jump. Nice, got it. And we're on our way. So we're on our way to encounter Puma Man and finally deal with him once and for all. Slight optimization there to jump into that so that I gain a little bit of extra space. This movement is actually faster than taking the Pollo and just running up. But now that we're going to fight again, we do want to switch back to Alahibre, or Alabrije, whatever you want to say. So Puma Man, very tough fight casually, very tough fight in the speedrun as well to do optimally, because you want to chase him very aggressively. And when you chase him aggressively, he can mess you up pretty badly. Oof, almost got smacked there. He can also do some nice little pillars of death. Nice. He also cusses there casually. Asses! Sorry, this is probably a G-rated stream. I'll be sure to give Puma Man a talking to there when next I see. This swap hopping through the clouds is also another cutscene skip. So we're making our way to the final dungeon, which is the Great Temple. The Great Temple used to be an enormous run killer, because there's a variety of enemies and platforming sections that are extremely difficult and can kill you pretty easily. However, due to an exploit using the save point checkpoint system, we are going to buy a power-up and quit out. And because we didn't actually hit that save point and activate it, that allows us to use SDG to warp to the very end of the temple. So we just skipped the entirety of the Great Temple, and we are now making our way to fight Mexican Skeletor, the Charo Calaca. So Calaca, what we're hoping for here is a 2-cycle fight. A single cycle fight is possible, but requires you to commit to a strategy without visually seeing it. Like, you have to hope he gives you the right shield, attacks the correct way, and you have to execute. And in order to execute, you can't visually react. So we're hoping for a 2 or a 3 cycle here, but to be honest, Calaca has been kind of a rough fight for me during the egress period, so we're gonna see what happens here. We run into this corner for we run into that corner to manipulate him. And nice, we got a 2 cycle. That's good. I'll take that. So Calaca 2. Calaca 2 is an enormous RNG fest. You can kill him in 1 1/2 cycles, or you can take like 20 cycles to kill him. And there's not much you can do about it except just hope. Hope things go well. And work with the hand you've been given. Time is not going to be after this boss. I'll be saying when it's going to be coming up. That was really good. If he had done a different move and not the tantrum, that would have been the 1.5 cycle. So, really strong fight. It's not going to make up for Chad being kind of uncooperative or missing Highway to Hell, which was the other skip that allows you to go to El Infierno early. But, I don't know. We'll have to see. I'll have to see what this final time is. Because I think it might have been just good enough to qualify as a good marathon run. So time is going to happen when I grope Lupita here, using the Y button. I'll be happening momentarily. Practice my hurricane kicks while I wait. Stomps. A couple uppercuts for good measure. Work on my jab. And now. It's time. So that mask piece is a nice little precursor to show you how to get the good ending of this game. Normally, in order to get the good ending, you have to pick up all of the mask pieces. This is actually not spoilers at all. For those of you that want to play this game, feel free to pick it up. It's usually gotten fairly cheap. It's a fantastic platformer and beat-em-up game. What I really love about it is that they introduce mechanics and they do not, like, drop them. They will always reintroduce them in a way that's interesting and new and fluid. Cannot recommend it enough. I don't think this game gets nearly enough praise, casually or as a speedrun. But anyway, let's go ahead and see what our in-game time is, shall we? A winner is you, and that's 36:01. So not too bad. If you guys are interested in Guacamelee at all, there's tons of resources or people that you can talk to about it. Like to give a shout out to basically anybody in the top 12. Oh, that's no good. So that's a visual bug that can happen from the SDG. But last thing I'm going to say, if you go to the scoreboard or the leaderboards, anybody pretty much in the top 13, wow, top 16 even, I would say. All of these people are fantastic players of games and speedruns. Go ahead and check them out. And yeah, hope to see more people playing this game or checking it out. But this is Turbodog702, coming to you with a completely destroyed screen due to VSync. See you guys another time. Thanks for watching. Hopefully.
Alright, rest in peace, Encoder. Thank you, Turbo. That was an excellent run.